folks, thanks for joining me and Simon today. It's the Moe and Simon Show. This is actually the last in the series. It's our last dance, Simon.
Wow. Well, for now, at least, right? Then we have to learn the tango later.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us today. I believe, well, we'll take whatever time we need today, Simon. I can't remember if it's 15 or 30 minutes, but we'll do our best. And we're recording this today. So again, my name is Moe Agostino, Chief Commodity Strategist with Farms.com Risk Management. Dr. Simon Atkins with Advanced Forecasting. We're going to talk markets and weather. And don't forget that if you're a U.S. farmer, you can join our contest for the U.S. Corn Belt Crop Tour. This is part of our 11th year as a U.S. Corn Belt Crop Tour. And there's some great prizes there, value of about $3,900. And there's a link to where you can register. You only have a few days left. The tour ends on Saturday. And then we'll make our final yield estimates. Simon, are you still thinking 159?
No, we're going to have to bump that up. And the reason I think is because the southern area of Iowa is going to get some rain. So we've actually had to boost it up to about 162.
Okay.
But we're still way below everybody else. We still think that there's going to be a lot of threats coming on in. So
don't you think the East will trump the West?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we are forecasting I think between 9 and 20% above normal yields in the Eastern Corn Belt.
So don't you think that will offset any production loss in the West and still come in with a record crop?
Well, it should, but what we're thinking is that there's going to be supply interruptions again and other things happening that aren't necessarily just weather.
Okay, fair enough. So guys, you're looking at the live quote screen. You got corn down 13. We're trying to break below the old low on December 22 corn. I'll just show it to you briefly here. And you can see here that the last low was about the close was 578.5, and we're trading below that right now. This was disappointing, Simon, this little weather scare. I thought we could do more, but I don't know. I guess the heat wasn't hot enough or dry enough, and the markets continued to move lower. So once again, if I connect my dots, there's your downward.
I think there's something absolutely huge going on outside of weather, Mo.
Right. If I connect my dots, you can see that downward sloping downtrend. I think the next leg is a new low, and then we're going to see a harvest low. And then once we see that harvest low, we'll get into a post-harvest rally by the end of the year. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. You want me to go over to my slides?
Yes, sir.
Okie dokie.
Off you go.
All right, let's see.
Again, guys, if you want to ask a question, feel free to do that on the Zoom Q&A app, and we can answer that at the end.
Okie dokie. All right, let's just go on and do that then, Mo. All right. Well, guys and gals, welcome to this is the kickoff of week 4. It's Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Mo, I'm going to surprise you here with this slide. And I always want our viewers to be in the know. And I want everybody to go to Google, all right, or to DuckDuckGo, or whatever you want to type, and type in Tanks China Banks. All right, it's easy to remember. Most people in America right now have no idea there is like a circle of tanks around many banks, because people cannot access their savings account or checking account. They can't go to the bank. And China's just said that the money is no longer theirs, that it's an investment vehicle of China. Now, if this happened to you tomorrow, what would you do? And I know what Joe Schmo's going to say. I'd get my shotgun and I'd go down there and imagine this. Now, inflation is so high, right, Mo? Even you've been talking about it. And It's damn expensive down here in Uruguay too, all over the world. Why is gold prices going down now below 1,700, the lowest it's been in a long, long time? And if you look at oil, it's going down a lot too. And we know that corn prices are tied very much to oil. But the big thing is that I want people to question. I don't have the answers to you, Mo, but as an economist or thinking in an economist viewpoint, if you think about where did the Ukraine go, obviously now we're organizing stuff out of there. We always said that was a forecast that I had told you, that I thought that everything was going to go pretty well by the end of the year. And it's actually probably happening before then. But I want to know what is going on in China. And do you think, or does anybody out there think that this is going to be a repercussion on grain prices? Now, you may not see the connection yet, but I think there's something to that, Mo.
Well, so I've been talking about the quiet war that China's waging on the US. And I've been worried about this since the end of May, June. Chinese demand has been missing in action. A big gorilla is no longer in the room. And part of that has to do is China trying to weaken the US because they keep going on these COVID lockdowns. And the US has a lot of plants in Shanghai, so Tesla can't produce as many cars,
right?
Apple can't produce as many iPhones. And to me, like you said, there's a bigger story circulating around the world that we're not being told.
Yes, agreed 100%. All right, well, let's go on to the weather now. And this is a quick graphic from the Weather Channel yesterday, that when we hit over 200 million people over 90 degrees, there's absolutely a big heat wave. And there's all kinds of things going on with the power grid, with ERCOT. So it's definitely a hotter summer than usual. Why I wanted to paint this, Mo, is because our forecast was that the central US would have that big Moe echo wave, and it would actually get very, very hot. We saw 110 Fahrenheit, which is about 43 Celsius the other day in South Dakota. And so we'd said that, and we actually are hitting these different targets. But, let's see what's going on. And this is the last 15 days. You can see the temperature deviation over, basically, here's the Moe echo wave axis. And in August, it's going to move to here. So basically, it's going to get warmer over the eastern states. And this cooler air that I'm going to show you today is going to come down into the plains with quite a bit of rain in the second half of August. But before I get to that, these are the arrows showing the heat over the next 3 weeks. We've basically got this area in Texas that's actually going to be moving into the eastern US. And I think some of this sort of lower Ohio Valley and Tennessee valleys are going to get much warmer than we've seen it. That's going to be their kind of, the peak warmth here is going to be August, whereas the peak warmth here is going to be in July this month. And then we've got a big heat source coming out of the west. And I think that at some point in early August, it will hit here, and then it will continue its journey eastward. Look at this, Mo. This is what I find absolutely incredible. The last 7 days, this is the moisture lack, or let's say the percentage of normal precip. And it's basically averaging about 22% of normal. And I've talked to a lot of farmers, not as many as you have, but they've basically been saying that they're surprised with the lack of moisture, how well the crops are doing. And so the temperatures have been as hot as we've said. Remember, we've always said on a scale from 0 to 10, it would be about an 8 in a heat wave. I think we've got that with the ERCOT emergencies, and we've seen 100 up to Des Moines. We've seen 110 in South Dakota. And we said that the drought would be a 6 to 6.5 out of 10. So more on the heat, less on the drought. But if we go to this map, this is what really concerns me. This is a NASA product. It's just type in sportless and then soil moisture, and you'll find it. And technically, Mo, in the past, red areas have seen yield damage. Now, I can't tell you what those yield damages are going to be, but something, I can't put my finger on it. All I can say is I mix intuition with science. And I think that way we get the human input as well as the computer input, right? Like if I told you just algorithms, I think we'd be missing the human experience of, what we've learned in the last 30 years. It's like we all want your 40 years of experience. But I will say that this area is probably going to see over the next couple of weeks, and cite me if I'm wrong, but I think we will see some percentage decrease in the good, excellent ratings, just because it's been so hot. And maybe there's going to be a lag. So I think maybe we still will see, some effect. But let me show you the big picture.
Well, Simon, can I just stop you
Yeah,
there
go
for a
ahead.
second?
Yeah.
I just want to add to some of those comments. If you can go back to the
please.
last slide.
Yeah.
You're on to something. And the mistake I've made the last 5 years, and I think many have, is I've underestimated the power of genetics and technology. I think these crops are doing more with less. So even though you have this hot, dry pattern, they can still survive with timely rains. And I think they also, I think the world and farmers tend to underestimate the power of CO2 in the air. You can maybe comment on that, but that extra CO2 in the air allows these crops to reproduce and grow. Without it, it'd be something smaller. So I think we need to remember that.
Yeah, well, carbon dioxide obviously can cause double or triple yields when you actually boost it in the air. It's, you just walk into a jungle and you've got huge amounts of carbon dioxide, and the life is just incredible.
Right.
I would say this, and I speak, I realize this may not be good for everybody, but those companies that are actually putting the carbon sequestration underground in storage amounts, and there's this government push to do that, I think that this is very political. There's no science to say that if we take away carbon dioxide, that the crops are going to do any better. In fact, Mo, carbon dioxide levels were much, much higher about 1,500 years ago, especially in Europe. And we have paleontological evidence that scientists have collected. It's just not looked at, Mo. And it's become very political, as you know, with climate change. But it's a good point that you went, you're commenting on this, that even though we've got all these reds, I mean, the weather forecast, Mo, and I don't have to butter my own bread, but the weather forecast was correct. But you're right, the genetics have just done amazingly well, even with all of these hundreds. And some people have joked to me, God, what do we have to get to 120 degrees in Nebraska in order to have a big catastrophe? So it's very interesting.
I think you do. Last year, that heat down in Western Canada was 120 degrees at reproductive. You're going to have to forecast next year to destroy these crops.
Unbelievable. Well, look, here's the Bow Echo wave, right? But look at this big indentation, Mo. Right, and this is through the 9th. So we're thinking the second week of August, we get this huge big puppy up here become very mature. And I'm going to show you this in weeks to come, this Arctic compression low, it is coming down. And this is the big change that our algorithms talked about. Let me zoom in on this. So basically the one on the left here is for this week, right, where we've got the big Bow Echo wave done. This is red is positive ions, it's heat, it's drought, and you can see it's moving up here, it's moving up the East Coast, it's pushing up here into Seattle with 90s, right? But look at this, and look at it leapfrogging, it's putting all of these blue negative ions. This is rain and cooler weather. And look at the difference of 1 week. This is a big trough. Mm-hmm. So this is going to bring in rains in the upper Midwest to start in early August. And eventually, we're going to cool off everywhere where you see in white. So it's going to be bearish in August to begin with when you get this rainier, cooler weather. The big question, Mo, and I'm not an expert in botany, is can we get, if we get too much rain at the end of August into the first half of September in the Northwest Corn Belt, like in this area, it's going to rain too much. Is the ponding of water in the fields going to cause fungus? Is it going to be too cool? What happens if we can't get a lot of the water to evaporate and we get continued rains?
Simon, I'm just going to refer back to last year. When I traveled through the Eastern Corn Belt on the 2021 US crop tour, I saw a ton of flooding, ton of rain, holes everywhere. It created a ton of disease late in the season. But did the USDA ever tell you that? No, it never shows up anywhere.
Damn.
Unfortunately.
Damn. I mean, so what then? There's all this manipulation?
It's political. It's like you keep talking about, it's political. They won't show you that because think about it. Think about the August 12th crop report that's coming up. What do you think the USDA is going to say? Are they going to say something smaller to make inflation worse and cause a further global food shortage? Or are they going to tell you their agenda is record crop, everything's fine, we got lots of production, we're going to feed the world?
Wow. Yeah. The question. Yeah, it's the latter. Yeah.
Simon,
and by the way, Mo, just to ask you, in that June 30th report, where that number, what was it, 900,000 extra tons of corn that they found? What was that?
No, sorry. The June acreage report, they basically said in the Northern Plains that there was 4.3 million acres of corn unaccounted for and 15.8 million acres of beans. I traveled through that area. South Dakota has very little PP or abandoned acres. Minnesota has 0. North Dakota may have, my best guess, 5 to 10%. I'm telling you right now, most of the acres got planted to corn and beans, not alternative crops. And in the August 12th crop report, in the resurvey, you're going to see a huge amount of more corn and more bean acres. It's going to be a very bearish report.
Wow. Wow. Well, let me go over a couple more things on the weather. Here's your Boecker wave. This is the slight cooling, all right, that you're going to get from that ACL that's coming on in. And you can start to see it right there a little bit, right there. All right. But this is going to grow in all directions in early August, especially up the Western Plains. And then everything, Mo, in the second week of August will move to the east. The rain will come down the plains week by week. Literally by the last week in August, it will be in Texas. And you can see a little bit of the monsoon moisture. This is why we went up a tiny bit. We got more rain. We're going to get more rains in Nebraska and in the southern half of Iowa. We've always said that the Eastern Corn Belt would do great this year, and that's going to increase with the rains coming down into the Delta region. So that should help that area too. Well, Mo, as you had said, just to finalize, we're going to have some winners, right? How many winners are we going to have? We're going to pull this Saturday?
Yeah,
5?
5 winners. Yep. 5
winners. So that will get those guys to have our top 10, where we talk about the big summer grind with the double ring of Wheel of Heat. This was back on July 7th. So we have about an 88% accuracy on the weather, and we look forward to serving the winners soon.
Does anybody have any questions? Those that are online,
just
ask us now while you have your chance. Before we go to that, Simon, I wanted you to give us a chance to give us a long-term outlook. I think you believe in the 89-year drought cycle, or we can call it the 100-year drought cycle.
Yeah.
And I think weather's not perfect, so we could be off by 1 or 2 years, but do you believe it peaks sometime in 2025?
Yes, it's actually 2024. Okay, let me take you through it. So 2023. Let me get rid of my sharing here.
Because I thought this year was supposed to be similar to a 1933, but it's not as bad.
No. We said a big burn, but we said a 6 to 6.5 out of 10 on the drought, which is moderate. Okay. Now in 2023. We're going to get that big Boecker wave axis towards the East Coast. There's going to be major heat up and down the eastern seaboard. The spring, mainly into the summer period for the Western Corn Belt, is probably going to be still above normal, but less so than this year. All right. Then in 2024, we're actually going to be cool and dry. And in 25, we come into a much hotter and drier weather pattern. So yes, it's going to be 25, 26. is probably going to be quite a doozy, probably an
So-
8 in drought.
A lot of people have compared this to maybe in 83 or 2012. It's nowhere near that, folks. There's
No.
picket corn row fences everywhere in the Eastern Corn Belt. Trust me, there's a big crop coming. If Simon says there's lots of cooler, wetter weather over the next month or so, it's going to make this crop. It's going to save the bean crop. Simon, when are we going to see the next 2012 or worse? Is it 25, 26?
It's probably 26. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anybody have any final last questions? It doesn't look like we have any questions,
Okay.
Simon, for today. So thank you for your time. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
it's been great.
It's been fun. I'm gonna miss this, but maybe we'll come up with something else.
Yeah, let's do it, Mo. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and stay in touch.
All right,
Cheers.
take care. See ya.
Bye-bye.